Good day. We are second-year students under the accountancy program of Xavier University Ateneo de Cagayan, here to talk about outcome-based education. Considered as the father of outcome-based education, William G. Spady, an educational psychologist and sociologist, conceptualized OBE as the reorientation in educational system towards what is essential for all students to be successful at the end of their learning experience. According to Spady, OBE is a comprehensive approach in organizing and operating an educational system that is focused on and defined by the successful demonstration of learning sought from each student. OBE is a model of education that rejects the focus of traditional education, which is on teaching and not on learning. In OBE, the emphasis is given to outcomes. Outcomes are the difference or changes you aim through activities, experiences, and the likes. Learning outcomes are statements that describe the knowledge or skills students should acquire by the end of a particular assignment, class, course, or program, while course outcomes specify what expectations an instructor has for the course. It refers to the knowledge, values, and skills all learners are expected to demonstrate at the end of the course. Lastly, program outcomes represents broad statements that incorporate many areas or interrelated knowledge and skills developed over the duration of the program. In short, learning outcomes are considered to be the building blocks towards course outcomes, which in turn supports the program outcomes. The following are the specific differences of the outcome-based from the traditional education. With regards to curriculum planning and designing, in OBE, curriculum is planned and designed according to the needs of today's students, while in the traditional education, same curriculum is passed from previous generation to the next generation. The teaching process of OBE is distinct from that of the traditional education. In OBE, teachers are helping students develop new skills, while in the traditional education, the teachers are focused on completing the syllabus by the end of the session. Lastly, the final outcome assessment differs from both sides. In outcome-based education, students' knowledge assessment is done on the levels that track their learning and skills, while in TE, students' knowledge is assessed as per their obtained grades.
According to Spady, there are three premises underpinning OBE, which serves as the rationale for its implementation. The first premise states that all learners can learn and succeed, but not in the same day and not in the same way. This philosophy takes into account differences in learning pace and learning style. There is an optimistic view of learning potential for all learners, thus they should be given more chance to learn until they achieve the desired outcomes. Second, successful learning promotes even more successful learning. In this premise, Spady states that successful learning rests on students having strong cognitive and psychological foundation of their prior learning success. This entails that when learners become successful in one learning activity, they become confident and gain more courage for success in other activities. When facilitating learning, educators should help learners gain skills for learning successfully. Lastly, schools control the conditions that affect successful learning. This premise explains that schools should arrange their conditions to be conducive for learning. Educators should make sure that all learners can learn and succeed. No learner should be thought of as an underachiever. Moreover, schools should set high standards of learning for all the learners. OBE is guided by the following principles. Clarity of focus. This means that everything teachers do must be clearly focused on what they want students to know, understand, and be able to do. Designing down. It means that the curriculum design must start with a clear definition of the intended outcomes that students are to achieve by the end of the program. High expectations. It means that teachers should establish high, challenging standards of performance in order to encourage students to engage deeply in what they are learning. Expanded opportunities. Teachers must strive to provide expanded opportunities for all students, as not all learners can learn the same thing in the same way and in the same time. OBE is composed of the following components: instruction, which involves teaching and learning activities prepared by lecturers and focused on helping students reach goals. Assessments, which consist of assessments tasks such as assignments, quizzes, projects, tasks, and etc., and is based on the levels that track students' learning skills. Curriculum, which is focused on learning outcome prepared by the CHED with the assistance of the board and is based on the needs of today's students. OBE curriculum has the following characteristics. It has program aims, program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, and performance indicators. It is objective-driven and outcome-driven, where every stated objective and outcomes can be assessed and evaluated. It is centered around the needs of the students and the stakeholders. Every learning outcome is intentional, and therefore the outcomes must be assessed using suitable performance indicators. Program objectives address the graduates' attainment within 3 to 5 years after their graduation. Program outcomes, which consist of abilities to be attained by the students before they graduate, are formulated based on the program objectives. Program outcomes address knowledge, skills, and attitudes to be attained by students. Teaching learning method may have to be integrated to include different delivery methods to complement the traditional lecturing method.
So how is outcomes-based education applied in accounting education? As per CHED Memorandum Order No. 27 Series of 2017 with the subject on the revised policies, standards, and guidelines for Bachelor of Science in Accountancy, this PSG implements the shift to learning competency-based standards or outcomes-based education. It also specifies the core competencies expected of BS accountancy graduates regardless of whence type of higher education institution they have graduated. However, this PSG also provides ample space for higher education institutions or HEIs to innovate in the curriculum according to their assessment of how best to achieve learning outcomes in their particular contexts and their respective missions. As mentioned in Section 2 of this Memorandum Order, it is a requirement for all private HEIs with an existing BS accountancy program to shift to an outcomes-based approach based on this PSG. Likewise, state universities and colleges and local universities and colleges should strictly adhere to the specified provisions in these policies and standards. Additionally, Section 3 of this Memorandum Order states that the minimum standards are expressive of the minimum set of desired program outcomes. So, specified in this PSG are the program goals of the accountancy program. These will be the expected outcomes of the graduates within 3 to 5 years of graduation and will be included in the assessment. The primary goal of accounting education is to produce competent and ethical professional accountants capable of making a positive contribution over their lifetimes to the profession and society in which they work. Moreover, The BSA program should provide a foundation of professional knowledge, skills, and professional values, ethics, and attitudes that enable them to continue to learn and adapt to change throughout their professional lives. Preparing students for the CPA licensure examinations and employment in commerce and industry, public practice, government, and education sectors are subsidiary objectives that should judiciously blend with the primary goal of preparing students for a successful long-term professional accounting career. Next, we have the program outcomes specified in this PSG. Expected program outcomes that are common to all programs are the following, where graduates can articulate and discuss the latest developments in the specific field of practice, effectively communicate orally and in writing using both English and Filipino, work effectively and independently in multidisciplinary and multicultural teams, act in recognition of professional, social, and ethical responsibility, and preserve and promote Filipino historical and cultural heritage. Further, a graduate of BS in accountancy should be able to resolve business issues and problems with a global and strategic perspective using knowledge and technical proficiency in the areas of financial accounting and reporting, cost accounting and management, management accounting, accounting and control, auditing, taxation, accounting information systems, and accounting research, conduct accountancy research through independent studies of relevant literature and appropriate use of accounting theory and methodologies, employ technology as a business tool in capturing financial and non-financial information, generating reports, and making decisions, apply acquired knowledge and skills to successfully respond to various types of assessments, including professional licensure and certifications, confidently maintain a commitment to good corporate citizenship, social responsibility, and ethical practice in performing functions as a professional accountant, and appraise ethical problems or issues in practical business and accounting situations and recommend an appropriate course of action that adheres to the professional code of ethics. The following course learning outcomes are from the sample course syllabus in Intermediate Accounting 3 provided in Annex A of this Memorandum Order. Upon completion of the course, in the cognitive domain, students will be able to prepare general-purpose financial statements that conform with the provisions of Pass 1 Presentation of Financial Statements, prepare financial statements or reports from incomplete records or records from a single entry system, convert cash basis financial statements into accrual basis financial statements, apply the provisions of Pass 8 accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates, and errors in accounting for the effects of accounting changes and correction of errors, explain the accounting for discontinued operation as provided by relevant Philippine standards on financial reporting, and identify reportable operating segments following PFRS 8 operating segments. In the psychomotor domain, students will be able to compute the total assets, liabilities, and equity of an entity at a particular date, the comprehensive income or loss, the change in equity, and the cash flows during a given period, compute corrected profit or loss after correcting accounting errors, and compute or calculate profit or loss using the cash basis and the accrual basis of accounting. Finally, in the affective domain, students will be able to comply with accounting standards in the preparation of financial statements and in accounting for changes and errors, and support the Financial Reporting and Standards Council and the Philippine Interpretations Committee in their work, especially in the continuous development of accounting standards and relevant implementation guidance. That would be all for this video. Thanks for watching!